There's a lot of work goes into a live show, you know, and then having guests. And obviously, you know, I was, you've already mentioned them, but Beverly Knight, Ollie Murs, Leanne Rimes, Nicole Scherzinger, all incredible, very well-established, experienced performers.
And it was in Newport. You got them all to Newport.
I told you, love. It's like, you know, I'm sure they thought it was the Palladium, but when the car turned left out of the airport and started heading west, they were probably wondering where the hell they were going. We were in Avenue Q and I was an understudy, so I was never on stage. So we used to be backstage with this little TV in the first actor's dressing room, which was right next to the stage. And we'd literally miss our cues because we'd be watching X Factor on a Saturday night.
That's hilarious, but you really...
Yeah. And one night, and the night that we all had to vote, I missed my cue because I was phoning and texting for Leona, like over and over and over again. And then she came to the show. It was, I was a big fan of Leona.
So what did you say no to that became an opportunity in disguise?
18 months prior to this moment, I had auditioned for The Hobbit and I hadn't got any response. I forgot about it. They'd actually started shooting at that point, and then they got a few months before they were going to start filming Bard the Bowman, and so they were going through audition tapes, and sure enough, after 18 months, they'd come across my audition tape, and the agent then called me and said, they want you to fly to New Zealand. Peter wants to audition you, screen test you. And I went, but tomorrow morning I'm flying to New Orleans to do this low-budget, independent psychopath movie, and I couldn't get out of it. And so I had to say no. And
you said no to The Hobbit.
But I had to. I had no choice. I couldn't get on a plane and go to New Zealand. I was signed to do this movie, and I had to say no. And so I got on that plane that morning, thinking that was my moment. That was my moment, and it's gone.
I mean, what did those jobs teach you, though? I mean, apart from the fact that you should never be too proud to put in an honest day's work, but for example, though, you know, overseeing the door at the Shadow Lounge, you must have seen a lot that you took home and chewed over. Oh God, I mean, I usually would, by 3 a.m., you know, when I used to clock off, it stayed open until 4. You know, you'd be like, oh God, why are you doing this? You know, you're freezing cold, you've had a fag butt thrown at your face. You know, somebody's tried to bribe you, which you've let in. And, you know, you're drinking somebody else's drink that they've left at the front door because you're thirsty. And you think, God, do you know what it does, though? It makes you dream, because some of those people I used to let in had made it and they were big stars. And I used to think, maybe one day, this is just a means to an end. But one day, maybe me, they'll let me into this place. I'll be on the other side, and the red rope will be opened and I'll go in. What about the roles that have taught you the most? The sets that were the greatest classrooms?
Well, I think the one I always remember, it was the first set I was ever on, which was Clash of the Titans. I'll just put it in context. I'd never stepped foot on a film set. I'd never stepped foot on a television set. I had never done a television advert. All I knew was this stage of 30 foot by 20, 30 foot back, facing an audience. So I turned up on that day and I had hair extensions down to my waist. I was put in 24 karat gold plated armor, so I couldn't really walk properly. I looked fantastic on the set, but still, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I'd never stepped foot on a film set in my life. And my first scene was with Liam Neeson playing my dad Zeus and Ralph Fiennes playing my uncle Hades.
Oh my God, I'm panicking for you.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
And I had to just blag my way through it and make them think that I'd been doing this. Because nobody questions you. They don't know who you are. They just assume you've been doing this your whole life. No, I had never. It was like first day of college. I was like, oh my God, watching and learning. And that day was a day I'll never forget, with these two incredible actors, you know, and I'm there, little Luke from musical theatre, now pretending to be a film actor in gold armour and long locks.